Ever tried shading your manga and somehow made it look worse? The page got darker, messier, and somehow harder to look at. Yeah, that usually happens when beginners don't understand how to use screen tones, one of the most common ways to shade in manga. We've seen it happen with hundreds of our students. But we've got a pro manga editor and pro Japanese mangakas with a combined experience of over 50 years in the industry to help. They taught our students all about how screen tones could add shadow, texture, and more drama to their manga. In this video, we'll give you a crash course on Screen Tones 101. By the end, you'll learn how to make your manga pages look more professional without being messy. Before you even think about screen tones, there's something important you need to know. Screen tones always come last. Our mentor, pro mangaka Nao Yazawa, says that you've got to first sketch your line art, ink it neatly, fill in the black parts, clean up your drawing, then finally add screen tones. Yazawa-sensei puts it like this.
Make it clean, at least very clean before screen tone, and finished black part. That is the priority. Then afterward you can think about screen tone.
Because if you don't, your pages will look messy or even dirty. And no amount of sparkly screen tones is gonna make it look polished. But how did screen tones even become a thing? Well, you know how hard it is to shade your manga by hand. It's even harder to make it look smooth and even. That's why mangakas started using screen tones instead. Screen tones, aka halftone dots, are patterns that add depth, shadow, and texture to manga. They were invented back in the 1930s, but it was only around the 1950s when mangakas really started to use them. If you've never seen traditional screen tones before, they're like sticker sheets. You cut out what you need and paste it where you want. Problem is, this can be very time-consuming. Plus, it's hard to find screen tones outside of Japan, and the costs can stack up over time. That's why modern mangakas use digital screen tones instead. And today, that's what we're focusing on. You can use any drawing software, but we're using Clip Studio Paint since that's what pro mangakas use. Just remember, clean page first, screen tones last. If you've been thinking about making your own manga for years and you're not sure where to start, then just book a free manga roadmap call with us. We'll help you plan out your goals, figure out what's blocking your progress, and build a realistic plan to actually finish your one-shot. No experience needed. And trust me, we've guided hundreds of beginners already. Some of them didn't really have drawing or writing experience. The best part? Our top students will get the opportunity to go on an all-expense-paid trip to Japan's biggest indie comic convention in Tokyo. We'll even hire a translator on the ground so you can share your work with Japanese publishers. And if you start now, that could literally be you. So, grab a time slot that works for you. The link is in the description and the pinned comment. Remember, you miss all the shots you don't take. So, don't miss this one. Digital Screen Tones 101. Let's get practical. There are a lot of ways to add screen tones, but I'll show you the easiest method on Clip Studio Paint. First, select the area where you want to shade. The quickest way is to use the magic wand or auto select tool. Just click on any closed area and a small menu will pop up. Click New Tone and you'll see the Simple Tone Settings menu. Adjust the frequency and it'll make the dots bigger or smaller. Density controls how light or dark the tone is. Type is the shape of each dot. You can choose circles, lines, noise, etc., but the most common one is circle. Angle is useful for pattern tones, like if you want to make striped clothing. To avoid printing trouble, here's what our pro mangaka mentor Rena Saya recommends. Keep the frequency 60 or lower, density between 5 to 40%, type, circle, and angle 45 degrees. Check the preview as you adjust the settings. When you're happy, click OK, and you're done. By the way, there are different ways to select an area you want to fill with screen tones depending on the shape. Just go to your selection area in the toolbar. Straight edges, click the rectangle selection tool and drag it across the area you want to fill. Weird shape? Pick the polyline tool by clicking point to point around the edges of your shape. Make sure to click back to your starting point to close the selection. You could also use the lasso tool to draw the exact shape you want to select. Here's another pro tip from Rena Sensei. If you see white gaps, just use your selection pen tool to manually draw over in those spots. You can also erase excess tone. If you want to adjust your tone settings later, just click the layer where the tone is and adjust it in the Layer Properties panel. Now, if you want to be extra, we've got 2 tips for you, directly from pro-Japanese mangaka Naoyazawa and Renasaya. For more depth, you could layer different screen tones on top of each other. That's called tone layering. If you want to soften the edges of your screen tones or create lighter areas, just use the eraser or any brush tool with transparent ink. This is called tone scraping. It's great for scraping away parts of the tone to make it lighter. It's great for skies, hair highlights, or creating a gradient effect. Now that you've got the basics down, let me show you the many ways you could use screen tones in your manga. Instead of shading everything by hand, mangakas often use screen tones to shade a character's skin, hair, or even clothing. That's what Yazawa Sensei did here. Notice how the character instantly feels more solid? Our student Coco also did something similar in her manga too. If you want to add shadows to your character's face or neck, you could just use tone for that as well. Next, if you want your backgrounds to look more realistic, you could add different tones like our student Cheese Wobbles did. Just by combining screen tones and line art, his characters no longer look like they were just floating in a white void. You could even use screen tones to create the sky, forest, and light rays just like our student Hang. Finally, screen tones are a great way to set the mood in your manga. If you think about it, most shonen manga like Dragon Ball or Naruto use hatching or motion lines more than screen tones. Meanwhile, shoujo typically uses more decorative screen tones with bubbles or sparkles. According to our pro mangaka mentor Rena Sensei,
I think generally for shoujo manga, very thick shadows are not suitable. It really depends on your taste and your art style.
Our student Amsar used a special screen tone to visualize his character's emotions. By adding these bubble-like screen tones, Amsar shows the warm, bubbly emotions the protagonist feels. You could even add sparkles and starry screen tones if you're going for a galactic feel, like Coco. There are tons of ways to use screen tones in your manga, but here's a word of caution from pro manga editor Vivi.
I think because a lot of more mangakas are drawing in digital, they overuse screen tones, so the final work gets too heavy visually because they can put texture wherever they want. I mean, if that is your style, it's fine, but do not also overdo it.
Learning when to use screen tones and when to hold back takes practice and experience. So, the next time you read manga, pay attention to how the pros use screen tones. And don't be scared to experiment. At the end of the day, how you use screen tones is up to your personal style. And most of all, it depends on the kind of manga you want to make and how you want your readers to feel when they read it. Want to see more one-shot examples from real beginners? Check out our first ever manga anthology, One Shot, Your Manga Era. It's free to read and full of original manga by creators from all around the world. Just go to oneshot.learntodrawmanga.com. And if you want to know how to get your manga out by the end of this year, watch this next.